Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. As always, if you guys, if you're driving home, make sure you guys, of course, get home safe. And if you guys are in a safe spot, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe as well. And if you guys are a Heat fan and you're young and with a family, you want to make sure that all your assets are taken care of. You want to make sure you go to markbrownpa.com, right? He's going to take care of all your assets if something happens to you in this crazy world. So like I said, give him a call, 954-866-8513, or visit his website at marcbrownpa.com. What he's going to do, he's going to take care of all your assets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, he'll give you a free consultation. That's the best part about it. He's located in the South Florida area, pretty much services the entire area. And like I said, he's a Heat fan, so make sure you give your business to a Heat fan and not some Celtics fan or a Lakers fan or anything like that. So like I said, give him a call, 954-866-8513, or reach out to him, marcbrownpa.com. Now, every single day, we play our prize picks. Marco Romo is like 99% on these prize picks, man. But you want to make sure you maximize your money, right? It's daily fantasy. You just pick a player. You pick if they'll go over or under on points, rebounds, assists. We keep it really simple here on the 5 Reasons pregame show. You want to maximize your money, right? So make sure you use the promo code 5. We'll match your deposit up to $100. So that way, whenever you do play, you're playing with free money. So like I said, go to prizepicks.com, use that promo code 5. And like I said, we will match your deposit up to $100.
Hello. I am your host, Jonathan Ramlakan, joined by Marco Romo. Marco, how are we doing today?
Well, Jonathan, I am doing very well. Thank you for having me again on this show. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I'm better than the Heat, which is not hard because they're basically at, I don't want to say rock bottom, but they're damn near close to it right now. Coming off of an ugly loss against the Joel Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers, where I think they allowed, what was it, like 70, 71, 73 points in the first half?
71.
Just a ridiculous showing to watch, honestly. Pretty disappointing to watch. And they didn't really right their wrongs in the second half. Just a team that kind of looks lost right now. I'm not going to lie. But Mateo, now that we're back to our normal names, what did you see from that game? Is there any positive that you were able to take from it? Or was it quite literally just an ugly game? It is what it is. And you move on to the next.
Well, it was such an abomination. I wish I had something poetic to say, but I will ask you this. Have you seen Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas?
Indeed, I have.
Well, that game was like payback for what happened to Billy Batts because Joel Embiid didn't play. Miraculously, he did the following night in Dallas when they got robbed. But sticking with the Heat's loss real quick, it seems like they have a new nominee for the worst loss of the season, like every 10 days or so. And this was a lost opportunity because an MVP candidate was sitting. In theory, it should be easier to load up all the schemes on James Harden or Therese Maxey, even more so when they're not sharing the court together. But this was a very ugly game, and it's very unfortunate because they started the first quarter excellent. They had 38 points. It was one of their finest first quarters of the season. It tied their second best scoring output through 12 minutes this year, but through 16 minutes into this game, the whole offense fell apart. The shooters couldn't buy an outside bucket. Guys couldn't hit close range shots. Butler, Adebayo, and Hero weren't really there when you needed them to stop the bleeding. I know Bam has a decent night on the scorecard, but it really is meaningless. If you saw the team play that night, everyone was god awful, even down to the instructor Eric Spoelstra. He only played Bam and Jimmy 15 minutes in the first half. I don't know what he was thinking because the game was getting away from him.
Yeah, I agree. Through and through, all around, just an ugly performance that we don't want to see again. But we'll probably see again because of what this Miami Heat team is this season, the 2022-2023 Miami Heat. It's kind of like looking at a mirror of the 2020-2021 Miami Heat. It's really kind of the same thing, if I'm being honest with you. But we're going to look forward to tonight where the Heat are playing at home in what is quote unquote the biggest game of the year. It's like the 15th of them that we've had because every single game is absolutely huge, but this game more so than others because the New York Knicks, I think the Heat play them maybe 2 or 3 more times, and the New York Knicks are 3.5 games ahead of the Miami Heat with just under 20 games to go. That's a really hard gap to make up, right? But the Heat they want to be in that either 5 or 6 range, in my opinion. So they have to start winning games really quickly, and it has to start tonight. You cannot afford to be 4.5 games back of the Knicks. If that's the case, if they lose tonight, you can honestly chalk up that the 5th seed is not in play, and they're really in the hunt for that 6th seed, which is okay. That's fine. You probably end up getting Philadelphia, but I don't know. We'll see where the Heat ultimately want to end up. But Mateo, I do want to talk about the Knicks, who, if you pay attention to net ratings, and honestly, if you just watch them play, they have been, at least by net rating sake, I believe the 2nd best team in basketball since December 1st. Something ridiculous. They started out poorly, and they've been playing fantastic basketball, and now they're 7-0 since they traded for Josh Hart. Mateo, what has this team done where they've really turned it around and looked maybe not like a legit contender, but like a legit playoff team for a large majority of the season?
Well, Gad, on December 4th, or maybe a couple days before that, Coach Thibodeau shortened the rotation by shelving Derrick Rose and Cam Reddish, who is now gone from the unit. He had done that to Evan Fournier a little bit before that, but since then, they've won 27 games and lost 14 while having the best offense in the Eastern Conference, scoring 118.5 points per 100 possessions. They've looked very good, and in the half court, they play very unselfishly, swinging the ball from side to side and screening very actively at the top of the key. Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein are all guys who set hellacious screens, and apart from getting themselves open, they buy the ball handler some time to shoot on the side or get inside the lane. But the real difference makers are really two guys. It's Jalen Brunson first. He has reactivated Julius Randle in the half-court offense because he is someone with his presence on the floor. Last year, what you saw a lot of is a point guard or a guard defender sagging off at the top to bother Julius Randle's drives or cuts to the basket. You can't do that with Jalen Brunson. He's someone who can break down the defense without a screen and get into the lane. And he's also hitting over 40% of his shots from three-point range on a decent volume at 4.5. Now, what that does is the opposing team can't liberally send double teams at Julius Randle so often. And he's now a better finisher this year and hitting more of his outside shots. But the real big one, as of recently, the trade deadline, is Josh Hart. They've been undefeated since they got him, winning 7 in a row, and they're scoring 123 points per game in that span. He's the best rebounding guard in the league, Gad, and what he does is when he secures a defensive board, he can get running downhill in transition for a quick 2 or hit the open teammate for a hit-ahead pass for another quick points. And so they're a team on the rise. They've won 7 on the row, and it's dangerous for Miami because they're imploding right now.
Yeah, I want to stick on some of the New York players really quick. Give my 2 cents on the Villanova guys, right? Like if you've listened to me speak before, I've been singing Jalen Brunson's praise for years. I think he is one of the best players. I was super high on the move when the Knicks got him in the offseason. He's just a super skilled guard. Like you talk about like short lead guards are not really a dying breed, or that are a dying breed, especially when they're not really athletic. Jalen Brunson is almost resurrecting that position a little bit, where maybe these guys that get drafted in the early mid-second round that are really productive college players, but they get looked over because they're small. They're not that athletic. Maybe they're not positives on the defensive end. And it isn't really the most cut and dry fit with some of the star players in the NBA. But Jalen Brunson is one hell of a basketball player, pure 3-level scorer, can get to his spots literally anywhere on the court. And listen, he's fun to watch. And I also want to talk about Josh Hart, who is really almost, I want to say, like one of the best glue guys in the NBA. Like you talk about all the little things that coaches want, right? Like they want someone who, like the first in, last guy out, gritty mindset, whatever, all that good stuff, diving on loose balls, making the extra effort plays. Josh Hart, that is his game. Now, that not to take away anything else that he can do, because he is a pretty skilled player, in my opinion. But that is his game. He is one of the ultimate glue guys, and I think the Knicks getting that type of player, despite not being a championship contending team, getting a championship glue guy makes a big difference. So I just want to give shout outs to them, man. Like they've been fun to watch, which is a really weird thing to say with the New York Knicks, and specifically with a Tom Thibodeau-led team that has Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, who admittedly I'm just not that big of a fan of their play styles. They have been a fun team to watch. I think they play a good brand of basketball. I'm excited to watch this game tonight. So we kind of waxed poetic a little bit about the Knicks. Mateo, what can the Heat do in order to end this win streak for the Knicks? Because this must win, right? Every game is almost going to be a must win at this point, but this is a big game. This is a very big game. What can the Heat do to get that win tonight?
Well, they got to play outside of themselves and actually hit some outside buckets, because if they keep missing long range shots, it's going to give the New York Knicks an opportunity to secure the long rebound and get in transition. They also have to hit shots against drop coverage. They really don't have big men that can defend the perimeter all of that well. So you got to hit your mid range shots or the shots on the wings. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo have to, get to the free throw line at least like 8 times a piece to slow down this game so the New York Knicks don't kill the Miami Heat in transition. Tyler Hero has to be stronger than 4 out of 15 shots. And at the top of the key, at guarding the point of attack, he has to fight a little harder over screens, and he can't get bullied tonight by Jalen Brunson, who I know is about 5 inches shorter than him, but he's a very strong guard who plays at multiple speeds. He can't get punked tonight. Tyler's a player on the rise, and I know he hasn't played well against, the elite defenses in the league. And by the way, the Knicks, since they've got it together in 2023, I think they have the 7th best defense in the league. So this is a big game for Tyler too, and he needs to hit the open shots. Really, everybody does, because if they don't, it's going to put them on their back foot.
Yeah, listen, I agree. And I'm really glad you pointed out that that Tyler Hero needs to have a big game, right? Like you look at stylistically speaking, yes, he should have played good last game, but this game in specific, they don't have the ability to switch. They don't. They have to play drop. Mitchell Robinson, really good defender around the rim. I think he's a very underrated player in terms of the way that the casual fan views the NBA, but he is going to be in drop coverage. The mid-range shots, the pull-up threes, those are going to be there. You have to knock those down tonight. So Tyler Hero, they're going to need him to play well. Obviously, I mean, everything that you said, I 100% agree with. They need to start shooting the ball better. And that tonight is going to be no different. Like this team, for better or for worse, is ridiculously reliant on jump shooting and the three-point shot. And they're not that good of a jump shooting or three-point shooting team, therein lies the issue, right? But we definitely need to see some more from the role guys tonight. One of the things I want to touch on here is we saw a really great stretch from Bam, right? We saw a fantastic stretch where he was shooting almost unsustainably. And then we've kind of seen a regression to the mean from the mid-range, but there doesn't really seem to be that much of an effort to differentiate his approach, right? He still is getting to that spot. He's still comfortable with it. Now, just from a pure basketball perspective, like biases aside or whatever, is that something that you want to see Bam keep taking those shots, that same diet of shots? Or do you want to see him try to switch it up a little bit, maybe try to get to the rim, maybe try to, like you said, get to the free throw line, or maybe look to play make a little bit more? How are you viewing the Bam short to mid-range jump shooting stuff that's been going on recently?
What he was doing at the, peak of his, all-star bid this year, I want him to keep doing. It hasn't had the best results since they've come back from the break, but I would be way more concerned if he changed up his play style, because it would indicate that something has gotten in his head. And the fact that he has, and it indicates that he's a very mentally strong player, and eventually you snap out of it. The season is 82 games long. Eventually you hit a wall. It's come at a very inopportune time, but Bam can't change it up. This is who he is, and he's got to fight through it. You got really like Kobe, like Manu, like all the great, shooters. I know he's not a shooter, but you got to just push your way through it.
Oh, listen, that's very good perspective, honestly. I think I agree for the most part. One thing that I would like to see him do, I don't need to see him get all the way to the rim, but I really want to see him try to emphasize that getting to the free throw line a little bit more. Okay, like sure. Pump fakes. Pump fakes are the thing that I know Bam is good at them. I know that he has them in his bag. I'd like to see him use them a little bit more, but not pump faking from like 18 feet away, because you're not threatening anyone there, right? But if like kind of work on that pivot foot, and from anywhere from like that 4 to 6 to 8 foot range, if he can pump fake, get Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein or whoever it may be that's guarding him in the air, and then lean into them and just kind of do what D Wade or Jimmy does, where you kind of just throw yourself at the defender and kind of draw a foul. I don't care if it's shameless basketball, but I think that's one of the things that I would like to see Bam start to incorporate, because the mid-range, for better or for worse, is going to be one of his playoff shots. I think if you can kind of build more counters off of that, I think he has some of the playmaking. I think he has the ability to get that foul baiting a little bit. I would like to see him add that into his arsenal. But enough about the individual players. We're going to scrap the prize picks today. Make sure you use the promo code 5FIVE if you're going to go on prize picks. $100 deposit will match up to 100% of that $100. So make sure you go ahead and use that. But Mateo, I want to get your prediction before we run too long here. What are you expecting for this game? Jimmy Butler available, Caleb Martin available, the Heat backs up against the wall. What's your prediction?
I really don't like it tonight, man. That team has won 7 in a row. They're clicking. The Miami Heat are not. They just got embarrassed. The optimist in me really wants to say they're going to come out smoking tonight because they got something to prove. But the nightmare of this year has been they can't secure the point of attack, and I think Jalen Brunson's going to eat them alive. And Quentin Grimes, who we didn't mention a little while ago, I will now. He's a great off-ball player, and Jalen Brunson is someone who, when he gets in the lane, attracts a second defender. He's someone who's been found in the corner on the wings very much during this win streak. So I really don't like it tonight for the Heat. So I'm going to go with the Knicks W. Shame on me.
Yeah, listen, it is what it is. I'm not gonna predict against the Heat. I'll roll with the Heat tonight, but I am worried because I feel like with Jalen Brunson, like you said, their offense becomes so much easier, and then they're really all going to be able to get the matchups that they want. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent on some switches. Like, these players are attacked tonight. So the Heat are going to have to throw some different defensive coverages out there, because if they are just switching on everything, I will kick through my TV if I see Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero guarding like a Julius Randle or Mitchell Robinson switch for no reason, right? So I'd like to see them kind of differentiate their approach, maybe a little bit, not all the time, because they are good at it. But I'm excited to see what the Heat come up with tonight. I will be rolling with the Heat W. I still, I guess, have faith, maybe not in the Heat being good, but more so in the weirdness of the season, where they kind of find a way to ruin things for other teams without actually fixing their own problems for themselves. So that's what I'm rolling with tonight. Make sure you guys use that promo code FIVE. Make sure you get your estate planning done with Mark Brown, PA. Mateo, any last words for the people?
Tyler Hero better get it together, man. I want to see him on the team next season.
He probably does too, but yeah, 100% agree. He needs to start playing better. And that's it. Thank you guys for showing up in the comments. Everybody have a great, happy, healthy weekend. Don't watch too much Heat basketball. It's probably not all that great for you right now, unless they start winning games, but that's besides the point. Everybody have a great weekend. And Alejandro, take us home.
Point with the way the games have gone, where something fundamentally has to change in the approach or the strategy or the lineup of the rotation?
No, I do believe that there just has to be a mindset shift to be able to sustain a game that can win night in, night out. And we've shown that we can be, the very best against anybody, anywhere. And then we also have shown this. And it might not just be this. It might be a poorly played game, not to our identity, where we've had some tough losses. We haven't had many of these kind of losses, but it's a sustainability, that we have not been able to wrap our hands around this season, and that's where we're going to continue to work at it until we do. All the answers that we want are in that locker room.
Eric, Jimmy left early in the fourth. Did he aggravate something, or was that just for treatment?
Yeah, just a little bit of knee soreness. We're down 25. At that point, he was just going to try to loosen up, get a little bit of treatment. If we would have gotten it to under 10, I'm sure he'd have been right back.
There weren't too many shots at the rim. The three-point numbers were down. What did you notice? Maybe that was difference about the offensive process.
Yeah, we took some tough contested shots, and you do have to credit their defense. A totally different complexion to this game than who we faced in Philly. It's just much quicker, much faster, more spacing. In the first half, they had 26 in transition, 20 fast break points. That alone was just night and day difference. From the team we played against in Philly. But, we scored 38 in the first quarter. I thought, we did some really good things. And in the second quarter, they totally flattened us out. I think with a couple minutes to go, I think at that point we'd only scored 8 points in the quarter. the switching flattened us out. We took some tough contested shots. Even with Embiid out, we actually got less paint opportunities, less shots at the rim, and less threes. And that really speaks to a lack of detail, with the execution against a smaller team that's going to try to switch and flatten you out. It takes real focus, which we're fully capable of doing that. We just weren't able to execute the way we wanted to, and certainly not be able to sustain it. Anytime we had any kind of run, it usually led to a tough contested shot that led to a breakout going the other way.
Even if the offense overall wasn't very efficient, Bam and Jimmy were still finding the switches and the matchups they wanted. And I was wondering if, big picture-wise, do you feel like with the way those two are kind of the focal point against a switching defense, do you feel like you've made gains against switches?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked on it a lot, this year. Just because you face it so often, and both those guys are switch killers, with their ability to screen and create pockets either over the top or in a pocket, versus a smaller player. They can also play out of the post, and we can still get to some cuts and a lot of the things that we like that we didn't get to tonight. But both of them, that was probably just the few bright points of our offense was, some kind of decision between the two of them.
Tyler's been off of the shot since he came back from the All-Star break. Is it a matter of he's not taking the right shots? Is it a matter of the offense not getting him the right shots? Is it a matter of him just missing?
I'm not prepared to answer that right now. I have to get to the film because each game has been different. This is different than it's too small of a sample size. Overall, just the consistency and sustainability of our offense, that's what we have to get to, of getting to our strengths, being intentional, doing it over and over and over and over, regardless of the team, the scheme, the context, who's in, who's out. We're capable of doing all of that at such a high level. We just need to have that consistency.
I know that doesn't really matter according to what you just said, but last week it was Giannis Antetokounmpo. This week it's no Joel Embiid. How much does that change your approach and in terms of what you can do with an opposing star player out of the lineup?
It shouldn't. It has. There's been whatever kind of impact this year that's very unlike us, and I wouldn't necessarily say there's an exhale. But we have not seized those opportunities, the way we should have, so far. Okay, thank you.
Man, I honestly feel like we have too many mental laps in the middle of the game. Guys leaving guys open. It was really on the other end tonight. We didn't get any stops, and that's what hurt us the whole game. We was getting what we wanted on offense. We just couldn't get any stops.
Big picture, Bam, how do you explain kind of the inconsistencies throughout the whole season, just from game to game?
You can't really explain it. It's an up and down season. As you can see, it's been up and down this whole season, so can't really explain that. It's more so we just have to find that right niche for us, and we haven't found it yet.
Bam, even though Philly was switching more than they usually are going to without Embiid, I suppose just talking about that, you guys have spent a lot of time this season trying to get better at attacking switching defenses. Do you think you guys have made the gains there overall that you want to?
No. We still have a long ways to go, as you can see, when it comes to teams who switch. And, we just have to buy in. We have to buy into that and really figure it out. It's the second half of the season. we need to start gearing up for something bigger ahead of us.
I think it's the fourth time in the last 5 games that the team has shot 30% or under from three-point range. Is there anything that you're seeing while you're out on the floor in terms of why those shots aren't necessarily falling? Is it something defensively that the other opponents are doing, or is it something internally within the Heat organization?
Nah, it's missed shots. You can't. It's not. We're human. And it's our job to come in here and make sure we make shots, and we didn't make shots today.
Bam, how much of a challenge has been with the up and downs, but also kind of mixing Kevin Love and Cody into the whole mix of you guys while you're trying to right the ship?
They've been, for what we need, they've been a great assets. They come in with the right mindset. They come in willing to work, and they're trying to figure out how ways they can be better for us.
You know what the schedule is. The Knicks won again tonight. You're chasing them. They come in Friday. Atlanta's right behind you. They come in for 2 this weekend. Can those moments, like Spo said earlier, you guys have shown you can beat anybody anywhere already, but knowing what's at stake, particularly in the next 5 games in this homestand, can that help flip whatever switch has to be flipped?
Yeah. I feel like this homestand, we run off these games. I feel like it's a different look. It's a different energy. The media start liking us again. So it's a big what, 5 games? 5 games for us. So, let that game go that we just had and, focus on the next 5 and take them game by game.
Bam, you mentioned earlier the defensive lapses that you guys have had, whether tonight or in other games. Just wanted to figure out, as far as the new defensive game plan with Kevin Love on the floor, with showing and recovering and incorporating that into the defensive game plan. I know you guys have thrown out all types of coverages throughout the season, but how do you think it's fared so far? And just the nuances of trying to get there and recover back before the wide open 3 comes. Has that been a little bit of a transition for you guys to figure out so far? How do you feel as far as the way that that's played out so far?
It's been different because we've never had like a big really show, so it's gonna take some time. But for us, just everybody else has to be on a string. I feel like that's where we get lost. One game we'll have the low man, the next game we don't have to go low man. One game we'll have shrinks, then the next game we don't have shrinks. We just need to get consistent with being first time every time. Black Lives Matter, people.
Still play up to our standard. We gotta share the ball. We have to, just play our style of basketball. But then, we have to be able to set our defense if we're going to do anything defensively. We scored 38, but they still scored 34. Continue to get on a run, and then in the second quarter, it got away from us. Cut the game to 11. Had that little hook screen. Jimmy was coming downhill. Could have get the game to under 10, and that just, I felt like that killed our momentum. They got back up to 18 or 19, and it just kind of never looked back. So, teams like that, they're just going to come out, play free. Harden and Maxey got them in good positions. They started knocking down threes. We're shooting a great percentage from, both the 3, and, we're living in our paint, fast break points. So it's just a tough one for us tonight.
What's the key to trying to bounce back from one of these? When you play well, you say, okay, you want to try to carry it over the next one, but when you don't play well, what do you try to take from it before you get back at it Friday? Just me being here 4 games and just understanding any team, we need to play for one another and sacrifice and, just find out our brand and how we want to play, what our identity is. But it's there. We have guys that are more than capable. We still need to get back to the drawing board and start winning basketball games, plain and simple. Kevin, you said it, only been here 4 games, but in the 2 games you've seen, last game this team was almost lights out from 3, shooting so well, over 40%, wins a game. Tonight, obviously not the case.
Is it as simple as just make, miss? Is there anything you notice, or as a team you notice that you're not getting to certain spots? Is the team shooting those threes? What can I put your finger on it?
No, we're getting the looks. We just plain and simple need to hit shots. So, our guys like Jimmy and Bam and those guys are creating shots for us. We need to knock them down. So that's it. I mean, we shot the ball well last game, but it's tough when you're up and down like that. So I think those shots are being created. Those guys create so much gravity, and they're finding us unselfish players. So we need to knock those down for them.
Thanks, Luke.
Just Spo's message this last day and a half. Tough loss, obviously, on Wednesday. You won tonight. What's kind of focusing on?
You just got to play basketball the right way. Play winning basketball, doing the little things, doing what it takes to win games. We know what it is. We just got to go out there and do it. So got to have buy-in from everybody and figure out how we're going to win the game and go out and do it.
Knicks have won 7 in a row. They're hot right now. What have you seen from them on why they've had such a successful run?
Yeah, they're playing good basketball. They got some talented players, and they're making shots right now. So it's our job to take them out of the rhythm and the momentum they have and try to get one at home.
You guys just played about a month ago, but Mitchell Robinson was not
Yeah.
playing. He's back tonight. What does he provide defensively?
Yeah, rim protection. He's definitely a guy that can change shots in the paint and mess up an offense. But we got Bam can take care of that, and then just got to move him and get him in space and figure out some different ways to get around him.
Got a quick couple for you, if you don't mind. From your time in college to your time in the NBA, how's the way that you watch film change throughout the time?
I think it's more structured into personally instead of like a team aspect of film. I think in the NBA it's more catered around what you need to do better and able to help the team. And in college it's more so the team watching film together as a whole.
Is there any particular area you feel like you've grown in watching?
I think just especially during the playoffs, just knowing guys' techniques and really focusing and honing in on each guy's strengths and weaknesses.
And then zooming out league-wide, what have you noticed from defenses, how they've shifted kind of schematically since your time in the league?
It's tough. I mean, a lot of teams are just switching everything and being physical and switching everything. So it takes you out of your offense, and you got to find ways to go against that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, just bringing everybody together, at this point of the year, wanting to stay together, get tighter, be more together than we've ever been, at a hard or a low point in our season right now. So just trying to bounce back and get a win, and obviously just leaving everything we have on the court tonight. So, we'll definitely bring it all.
Knicks are on a 7-game winning streak. What have you seen from them on the film and why they've been so successful during this run?
I mean, they're scoring the ball. I think last game they scored 140. Jalen Brunson and Randall both playing really well. But they're rolling right now, playing great basketball on both ends. So I mean, it's going to take a good team effort tonight. But we just got to bring it.
And last month you guys just played the Knicks. Without Mitchell Robinson, he's back. What does he do? What does he provide disruption-wise for them defensively and offensively?
Yeah, no, he's a long, athletic defender, lob threat. He can really be disruptive on the end of the ball, just blocking shots, just eating up space in the paint. So, he's definitely a big difference maker for them. Good. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good morning.